Once, Royal Mail was your friend. Not anymore.
Don't listen to them. Customers always lie.
Once, they delivered your mail. But not to these people. They say they clamp down on theft, but a manager claims some postmen are stealing.
They go in the toilet, open up the envelope, and have the time to take it out, put the money in their pocket.
So, is this the last post for the Royal Mail?
Let's be clear, this is a business under threat.
In 2004 and 2005, Dispatches broadcast 2 programmes on the Royal Mail. We found poorly trained agency workers, late, damaged and missing letters, mail centres you could just walk into, and theft in the system. Our investigations led to an inquiry by the postal regulator, after which Royal Mail was fined nearly £10 million. 5 years on, and Royal Mail says it's modernising, and things have changed. So Dispatches is going back undercover to find out what's really going on. Our first reporter is Joe Ward. He gets work through an agency. The agency sends him to a delivery office in Brixton, South London.
Hi mate, Joe Ward.
It's a smart sign on there. Go through that door there, it's canteen.
There's a backlog of mail to deliver, which is built up in recent strikes. He's starting with some other agency workers. The manager asks how experienced they are.
Have you done delivery before?
Long time, 5 years ago.
5 years ago.
The training is extremely basic.
Make sure you look at the address, get to the door, number 15, so before you put it in the door.
After a few more tips from a full-time postman, he's left on his own. And Joe has become a postman on the streets of Brixton.
Hi mate, it's 216, yeah?
Yeah, mate.
Cool.
After our first film, the Royal Mail said it would increase security on all staff. Joe was told he'd be checked for a criminal record. But the Brixton delivery office never asked to see any identification from him. And he was sent out delivering alone, with trolleys full of parcels and letters.
It's a postman here, I don't have a fob for the dog. Cheers mate.
After our first film, Royal Mail said it was creating a pool of high-calibre temporary workers to help out at times of high demand. But a postman says the agency workers at Brixton aren't particularly high-calibre.
Is that their job? No, it's not getting delivered. They take it out and bring it right back again. I met a couple of Indian people, couldn't even talk language. They couldn't speak English.
This worker has been out delivering mail, including recorded deliveries. But with an increasingly irate customer waiting outside, he's unable to explain to his managers what he's done with the customer's parcel.
Where is it?
I bring it.
Was it recorded packet?
Packet, it was packet.
Just a packet?
Where's the card? The customer's going to do that, yeah?
Just that. A packet?
Yeah.
It's not recorded that you put down a packet to it.
Yeah, it's packet.
It's not recorded, no?
It's no problem with record this. I'm answering your record this.
The agency worker doesn't seem to know what's going on. One postman tries to find out what some casual workers have done with the keys he needs to get into blocks of flats.
I told him yesterday to bring the key back. And he is not coming today. What's he got with the key now? Where's the key now? I need the key to get in. Come with me. Come with me.
Later on, he says he still hasn't found the key.
What had he done?
Well, him and his mate done this yesterday, took the key out to get into all the blocks, and his mate ain't come in. I'm now here, I've got all this, and half the work they brought back, and I can't get into the blocks. And all he keeps saying is my partner, the key, my partner, the key.
Joe is asked to go on a round with a fellow agency worker who claims he knows the route, and he takes the lead.
Do you know this area a little bit?
Yeah. Because I know this area, because me and George, we live together this place one day.
But as soon as they start, so does the confusion.
You start here, yeah?
He hands Joe a letter and tells him to deliver it to the housing office.
Yeah, housing, yeah.
So this one says not housing office.
Oh.
Delivery routes can be complicated, and navigating them needs experience. They've been given some instructions scrawled on a piece of paper, which are practically incomprehensible.
Not up to much.
And he soon gets lost.
You know where we are? We are lost. We got it?
Behind Tesco's.
Behind Tesco's?
Yeah.
They go down the road, and he asks around for 10 minutes.
Yeah, not bad.
He decides they're still in the wrong place.
I'm not sure, but it's not here.
And they're off again. After another 10 minutes,
Maybe it's down, that
What way?
Maybe it's
That
down.
way?
Yeah, I think.
they go all the way back to near where they started.
My goodness, it's there. The way it's there.
It's here.
Yeah.
They've spent at least 40 minutes without delivering a single letter. Joe does deliver all the letters he can, but after nearly 6 hours of trying, the other worker still hasn't finished, and brings mail back to the sorting office, where a senior postman says it won't get delivered today.
What happens to this stuff?
You don't do it today, somebody has to do it tomorrow.
Yeah.
On another round, Joe finds the agency worker has hidden some of his letters in Joe's trolley, rather than deliver them.
He's just dropped these letters in my trolley from his mail. Now I've got a load of letters in here. Just mail that isn't delivered but just gets palmed off somewhere.
Our second undercover reporter is Kareem Shah. He gets a job a month after Joe, also through an agency. The agency sends him to Tooting Delivery Office in South London.
My name's Kareem. Okay, hi Kareem.
He is given some training for his first round, but it's very unusual. He's sent out with an agency worker who says he's worked there continually for 2 years.
2 years? I'll start and you push this after me, you watch out what I do and how I go.
Okay.
On the very first door, he has a parcel to deliver, but the resident doesn't come to the door straight away. So he has a time-saving tip.
Normally, I'm supposed to wait till they come and get the packet.
Okay.
But some impatient postmen like me just keep it in a very hidden place. So when they open the door, they find it.
He's about to leave it outside when the door opens.
If she had not come that early, I would have kept it somewhere in the corner. So whenever she opened the door, she'll find it. You might get in trouble. Don't do that.
He tells Kareem to always padlock his trolley to some railings so no one can steal it, but then leaves it unsecured himself.
But normally, you're not supposed to leave it. And I know no one is going to steal in here, that's why I'm leaving it. Are you understanding what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Later on, and again it's do what I say, not what I do, as he leaves an open bag full of parcels hanging off his trolley.
I'm just going to do it this way and take the risk. But normally you shouldn't do this.
Okay.
You get into trouble with that.
Okay.
While he takes Kareem off to buy some sweets. Kareem did find some of the agency staff at Tooting were up to the job. Though he also found casual workers leaving a trolley unsecured and in full view.
Is that your trolley down the bottom?
Yeah, with one more guy. He's with him.
Okay. No, it's not locked. No. You should tell him because if you get in trouble.
But while some agency staff may not be doing their jobs properly, our reporters work as hard and as quickly as they can. Sometimes out-delivering until well after dark. Royal Mail has spent over £1.3 billion on modernisation, including new equipment. But some of the trolleys our reporters were given seemed anything but modern. As Joe does his rounds, his trolley slowly falls apart.
piece from a trolley has been loose.
My trolley thing again. This is bust.
Until its wheel falls off and it's useless.
Oh, that wheel has come off that trolley. So the brakes don't work. Now the wheel's fallen off.
Over in Tooting, Kareem's manager tries to find him a trolley. The yard is full of them, but a lot of them are unusable.
It's a lot of broken, was it?
Yeah, they break very easily.
Did it?
This one and the wheel crack.
Eventually, Kareem finds one that does work, but the padlock to chain it to railings isn't working.
Oh, what are you talking about, the padlock? This one?
Yeah.
No, it won't work with that one.
His manager tells him to take it out anyway.
Just use that. Just use it. Yeah.
Royal Mail and its rival carriers are targets for thieves. According to the Metropolitan Police, in London alone, there are over 1,000 thefts a year of mailbags and packets during delivery. But with no padlock, Kareem has to leave his trolley unsecured. Royal Mail says it takes a zero-tolerance approach to theft. But as he's going about his job, Kareem hears claims of stealing happening within the system. While he's out delivering in Tooting, he's approached by a local resident.
It's got this delivered and it's already been opened.
Has it been opened?
Yeah, literally, it's just ripped across. And obviously if it's come straight from the post office.
It's a birthday card which Kareem has just delivered. It's been ripped open at the side. The customer says he thinks someone has deliberately opened it.
Cheers, dude. Sorry, it's just the girlfriend's old birthday present, so she's a bit gutted.
2 days later, Kareem overhears a fellow worker telling the manager he's also found some mail which seems to have been opened. Kareem asks the manager what to do when he finds cards like this.
What's the procedure?
The manager says they're put into bags and sent on to the customer.
What will not happen, the customer will get that and they will call us.
Okay.
Head office will send them money.
Where does it get opened? If it's not, because we don't do it because it's coming in to us.
I know. 9 Elms. Mail Centre.
9 Elms Mail Centre is a major Royal Mail depot which sorts mail for all over South London. The manager draws Kareem a map of the postal system.
Letterbox, the postman, the delivery driver collects it, brings it to the mail centre. So what you had was done in the mail centre.
Why didn't they just nick the whole card? Why did they cut the bit?
Why?
Yeah.
They work on the camera. Why would they nick the whole card? The card's not for them. They just want the money. Watch this. You're a staff. You're a thief. Yeah, as a staff, theoretically speaking, you're a thief, but I don't know it. You come in. I'll send you on to the mail to do whatever you're sorting. You split open the thing, take out your money, take out the money, put it in your pocket. I come to you and says, I believe you're stealing. Do you have any evidence? No. Oh, but I think you're stealing. How do you know that? Because you've got some extra money on you. It's my money.
Yeah, I understand.
However, if I catch you with the card on you, I've got you.
That's proof then. Do they not have like cameras and stuff at the mail centre though?
They've got camera. But they know how to dodge the camera.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me, Mr. Manager, can I go toilet please? Yes, you can go toilet.
Okay.
So they go in the toilet, open up the envelope, have the time to take it out, put the money in their pocket, put it back under their shirt, went on the sorting, look around, pull it back out.
Like casuals or like...
Casuals and the Royal Mail staff. Yeah.
Serious?
Very serious. Very serious. At the end of the day, his mail has been violated.
Yeah.
And as long as it's in our property, we're supposed to protect it until it enters his property.
We don't know if the manager's claims about 9 Elms are true, but they're serious allegations of theft. And Kareem found very little investigation seemed to be happening into the opened cards and letters. Over the next few weeks at Tooting, he finds more cards which are open. We don't know if they were deliberately opened or somehow came open accidentally. But managers made little effort to investigate either way. Kareem was just told to put them in a bag and put them back on his frame. They were then sent out to the customer with a note apologising for the damage. Previously, dispatchers found serious flaws in security at big mail centres. To see if they've tightened up, Joe gets a night shift at 9 Elms Mail Centre. The sign at the gate says, no ID, no entry, no exceptions.
Hello, I'm doing a 11 to 7 sorting shift here.
But Joe walks in without anyone asking who he is, if he has an ID, or if he's even supposed to be here at all.
Hello.
Alright.
He hangs around with some other agency staff in reception. There's no one at the security desk, so when someone else buzzes at the gate, it's a casual worker who lets them in.
Hello?
It's open, he's coming in.
Yeah.
You press the button.
Yeah, press it.
Another agency worker goes to find out what's going on.
I'm good. Well, I don't know about you, but I'm going to go in and find out.
Okay, let them know that we're here.
Otherwise, you could be standing there for ages.
A manager comes out, but doesn't seem to be expecting them.
Hi. Right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Eh?
You forgot us.
Well, I didn't know anything about it until this gent was just walked in to let me know you're here.
See what I'm saying?
Joe and the others are led in, put to work sorting and given access to the mail without even the most basic checks on who they are. Except that after 15 minutes, they're asked to write their names on a piece of paper.
Your surname last, Christian name, and then surname.
Okay.
Although some things have improved at the Royal Mail, our reporters have found many of the same failings that dispatchers identified 5 years ago. And the way they handle our mail didn't seem to have changed much either. Joe saw workers at 9 Elms just throwing packets and parcels into the sorting bins. Royal Mail says it's 2/3 of the way through a modernisation programme, which will introduce state-of-the-art machines to sort the postman's letters for them. But in the delivery offices, where our reporters worked, they were still sorting by hand for hours before they went out on their rounds. It doesn't look a lot different from these images of sorting at the post office, filmed during the Second World War. In 2008, Richard Hooper conducted a major review of the Royal Mail for the government. He was alarmed how far it's fallen behind its European rivals.
When the report came out, the Royal Mail had 0% walk sequencing automation, whereas the modern European postal operators were walk sequencing automation 85% of all letters. So that gives you an idea. In 1990, the Royal Mail was considered in the Premier League, the top of the Premier League of postal authorities worldwide. And 20 years later, it was towards the bottom of the Premier League, indeed in the relegation zone.
Next, we find industrial turmoil during a supposed truce, as managers claim they're being held to ransom by the unions over our Christmas post.
Well, we're just asking to do substantially more, that's all we're asking. Lovely.
2 dispatches reporters are working undercover as postmen. They've found an antiquated system with lax security, poorly trained agency workers and allegations of stealing. Next, they find disputes in their offices between managers and the staff, despite a supposed Christmas truce. Last year, postmen went on strike over the way Royal Mail was trying to modernise the service. The Communication Workers Union said cuts in jobs, services, pay and conditions were being imposed without consent. They claimed postmen were being made to work longer hours for no extra money. In November, the strikes ended and both sides agreed on a truce for Christmas. Royal Mail said there would be no worries for the Christmas post.
I'm delighted for our customers and our people that we've got back to a sensible agreement with the CWU that will allow us to deliver a great Christmas.
Both sides said they would ensure people work normally.
What it will mean is that we can now have a period of calm where we can jointly take forward modernisation.
But our reporters were working after the truce was called, and they soon found that their delivery offices didn't seem to be working normally. At Tooting, a worker says mail is piling up.
This is getting low. Why? We've never seen like this.
He says the postmen are behind in delivering their rounds, known as walks.
All the walks are going back up. Walk back up.
On another day, Kareem's manager says there are letters waiting to go out.
I have deliveries here to go.
Which should have been delivered the day before.
These are yesterday's mail?
Yeah.
But they're bad?
Yeah, that's bad.
Later, Kareem asks his manager what's going on.
How come it's like this? How come today, I took like yesterday's stuff out? I mean, is it because there's not enough staff or something, or?
Of course there's enough staff. We have more than enough staff.
Then how come mail from the day can't go out on the day?
Mail from the day does go out on the day.
But this is...
However, the amount of mail that should go out on the day does not go out because these guys are slowing down.
He claims the workers are refusing to work hard in a row over working agreements.
They want a certain agreement with us managers, but we will not agree to it because we don't believe that what they're saying. Basically, they're just giving us false information.
He says postmen are not telling the truth about how long it takes them to do their work.
They probably want 20 hours for it when I know it can be done in 4 hours.
So they're purposely taking less...
taking their time.
Okay.
So we said to them, okay, fine, you can continue that way, we just bring casual in. All right, the work won't be perfect, but the work will get done.
Royal Mail and the unions pledged to work together and resume normal working during the Christmas truce. But another manager tells Kareem it's not true here.
But I thought from the news the strike finished and everything's okay now.
Yeah, the news will say that, but the reality is different. They went on strike because they wanted certain things. And because they've not got those things, they've gone slow. They're not working normally, that's why you got a lot of work.
Okay.
Kareem has found postmen are angry about the amount of mail they have to deliver in a day. Last year, Royal Mail changed the working times of many postmen. They used to work a 4-day week, with 10 hours every day to sort and deliver their round. Now, they're working a 5-day week and have 8 hours a day for the same amount of work. Royal Mail says the changes are a key part of modernisation and have improved efficiency. But postmen tell our reporters this new system means they can't get it all done and some are leaving mail behind in the office. A postman is normally expected to deliver all the letters on his sorting frame. But this worker at Brixton says their rounds are now too big.
And these walks are double. We agreed to get these walks this size to do 4 days a week. Before, the walks used to be just like here. I mean,
you're joking?
And not all this extra.
All this extra mail?
That's what we were striking. What's out of order? Look at this crap, man. I hate this. No, this.
On another day, he says he's expected to take all of this out, but he's not going to.
I'll convince you doing it, but get man, don't worry about it, innit?
He goes off on his round.
Taking me for a joke, though.
Leaving huge amounts behind.
See ya.
None of this mail will go out today. The manager at Brixton admits to Joe there's a problem.
What do you think of all that hours thing? I keep hearing everyone talking about that 8 hours, 10 hours thing.
Well, this is it. This is the problem with the office. I moved the office to an 8-hour day because it used to be a 10-hour day, but it wasn't working.
Right.
Because they were all finishing too early. And now, of course, they've all got the ump.
Is there too much mail to do it in 8 hours?
On certain days, it probably is. On certain days.
Do they take it out all the time?
Not all the time, no.
Meanwhile, over at Tooting, a manager says postmen are going round the delivery office to make sure they get their own letters on time.
Because some of them leave locally, what they do is they try to pick their own letters, and I said to them, no, you leave it. So why should your neighbour wait 3 days and you just pick yours?
Yeah, that's true.
When everything is because of you.
At Brixton, a manager comes into the common room to plead with workers to get them going.
Are you going to spend that one day making tea? Oh, I've got everything here, really. You've been here 6 o'clock. I started the sorting, you're making tea. What do you think there?
On another occasion, he tries to stop a worker sleeping in the common room.
What are you doing? I'm waiting for you. You're not sleeping down, I'm not sleeping. I'm waiting for sleeping down. I'm clearing the work away.
25 minutes later, he's still there. So the manager comes back and tries a new tactic. He jokingly takes a stick to him.
I'm waiting for them to finish the sorting so I can... They're done. They're done. Okay.
Which does seem to work. Sort of. Our reporters find that in the run-up to Christmas, Royal Mail has another, separate union issue. Managers and unions in local offices argue about overtime payments to ensure the postman will deliver the crucial Christmas mail. Joe overhears the manager and union reps haggling in the canteen.
The only thing I can tell you a bit about Christmas, there's a document coming out today. From what I can hear, it's the same agreement as last year. The deal last year was 14 hours and a £100 bonus, wasn't it?
But the reps say the workers won't accept it.
I personally can't believe that we'd accept that Christmas. And our biggest worry for us is he wants us to knock down at Christmas and then come January, pick a shift.
I appreciate it.
The next week, they try again.
Shall I kick this on? Or are you going to walk out straight away?
The reps want twice the overtime they've been offered.
Well, we're just asking for this stuff staying anymore, that's all we're asking. Lovely. Well, if only I just make that. Well, no, that's not what we're asking. That's about right. But yeah, I would be more acceptable, wouldn't it? Just for this Christmas.
Eventually, the union get an offer they're prepared to accept. And in a general meeting for the postman, the reps advise them to take it.
We would advise you to vote yes for this. It means that you're going to get 29 hours extra for Christmas.
But in return, the workers will have to clear their sorting frames.
But it will mean clear off this, none of the mucking about. You got to clear your packers as well. What, on the wall? Yeah.
Now the reps have been given the overtime they want, Joe asks his manager about the power of the unions.
Yes. I think the surprising thing for me with like the unions and management and stuff is it's funny old.
It is a funny old
industry. Like.
I think in the last few months that you've come here, you've seen the management try and take on the unions, and that's what's happened, and that's why there's so much change.
Do you as a manager, felt held to ransom by that kind of thing works?
Yeah, we're in one of the good unions.
Really?
Yeah. In some offices, the management hasn't got the power.
Right.
I would say in this unit, we've got more power here than a lot of people. You know, a lot of them. In some offices, it's a struggle, even just to get them out on the street.
Our reporters are told that there are similar rows going on at other delivery offices. Under Royal Mail's agreement with the unions, some working practices crucial to modernisation have to be agreed at local level. Dr. Madsen Piri co-founded the free market think tank, the Adam Smith Institute.
One of the problems with Royal Mail is that when management reaches a decision about what needs to be done, they then have to negotiate with the union, and not just on a national basis, at an area-by-area basis. This is no way for management to manage, and the Royal Mail is stuck in a time warp. It exists almost as a throwback to an age when that's how industries used to be run, and they used to be inefficient, and the Royal Mail, I'm afraid, is still stuck in that inefficiency.
Royal Mail and the unions publicly said they'd reached a Christmas truce. But there's not much Christmas spirit in the air at Tooting. The workers are still demanding their 4-day week back. Kareem finds himself working next to a postman who says he's a senior local union official. He says the work is piling up as the dispute goes on, including important parcels.
You mean, this here? Contact lenses. Girl's been waiting for this for a week, so she's been walking around, can't see. But a lot of the blokes feel bad about this. So I think they just don't get in here. They're not getting Christmas cards, and it's wrong. It's wrong.
He says it's the manager's fault because they won't change their working hours.
The duties are 10-hour duties, but we're only on an 8-hour day. You can't do it. The managers are doing nothing about it. And what it is, the post office has got an attitude that they've got the money for this. We
But while he says he's upset that people aren't getting their Christmas post, he also admits he could work faster himself.
I mean, I could keep it, but what going to cost more the pokey money? I mean, my flat wages a week's only charged for 60 quid. You know, I could break it more 5 days a week.
With a week to go to Christmas, he says that if they don't get their demand soon, the mail won't get delivered.
We want our 4-day week back. Now, we're not going to get it this week. Then next week, if nothing happens, whatever they offer us, say Monday, you've got 4 days to work, and the blokes will turn around and say, so what you doing, knocking us crumbs off the table?
Yeah.
The very next morning, the managers give in and the workers get their 4-day week back. They're delighted.
How you got your deal?
You could have done that. All 3 of us are. It's not the difference in the noise in here. Happy people.
It seems like it's all settled, but the manager tells Kareem there may be more trouble to come.
They seem happier.
No, they're happy because they're making the money, isn't it?
Because they've got this new
money. It's about making the money at Christmas. That's what they're happy. But then we go for the fight again next year. That's the problem that we keep fighting.
And he's right. In January, Kareem returns to Tooting. He finds managers have changed the system yet again, back to a 5-day week. But workers threatened a strike, and within 3 days, the managers caved in again and changed it back to where it started, a 4-day week. A manager tries to explain.
So what happened?
Changed from...
Sorry.
It went from 4-day to 5-day.
Yeah.
Uproar. Went from 5 days to 4-day. Okay. Then from 4-day changed to 5-day on a Monday. They were told on Saturday, so they went ballistic. So that was just chaos. Then it changed again yesterday to 4-day, back to 4-day, which they want. You know, so that's where we are now. So just up and down yo-yo.
Analysts of Royal Mail say this chaotic squabbling is threatening the future of the entire service.
Let's be clear, this is a business under threat. Modernisation is happening much slower because of resources and time and attention span of senior management going on the industrial relations gulf. They have got to come together and they have got to agree a way forward.
Next, postmen and customers go toe-to-toe as tempers boil over.
Just serve that man at the window, I'm not serving. I'm asking the man what you're pressing the bell for, and he's telling me that's what it's there for. Is he a child?
Well, it's that standard outside of it. Video camera to prove it, then make a TV programme about it.
2 Dispatch's reporters are working undercover as postmen. They found managers and workers still arguing, despite a supposed industrial truce. While postmen leave mail behind instead of delivering it. Meanwhile, they've been dealing with the traditional hazards of the job. Kareem is trying to deliver to a first-floor flat. It's an irate Jack Russell. Generally, though, it's angry customers who approach our reporters on their rounds, complaining about the mail. One garage business has been seriously affected.
You haven't got the number for the sorting office at Tooting?
Yeah, I have, yeah.
Could I nick it off?
Yeah, sure. What's the matter, though?
We haven't received post from our head office in Birmingham for about 4 weeks now.
Seriously?
We're waiting on 3 months worth of pay slips that we haven't had.
That's fucked up.
And important health matters can be affected by late post.
I had a very important doctor appointment. I never received it. I got an angry letter from the specialist, and now I have to wait until March because I didn't get the letter. And I'm sure I'm not the only one.
One household tells Joe that during the strikes they had no post for a week, but then it came on a Sunday.
Have you not been getting letters much lately?
No. I got letters on. I'm getting letters on Sunday.
On Sunday?
You delivered mail on Sunday, didn't you?
Not, it wasn't me.
Didn't they?
Really?
Yeah.
Joe takes this to his manager.
These women ask me why I only have mail come on Sundays and not through the week.
He says he's sure they're wrong, but his attitude is dismissive.
Don't listen, they're lying. They're lying. You get delivery every day. They've done 7 days delivery. She's lying. Don't listen to them. Customers always lie.
In the last 12 months for which figures are available, Royal Mail paid over £4 million compensation to customers who complained about lost mail, and over £600,000 for damaged and delayed mail, and it failed its most recent performance targets. Last summer, it failed half of its 12 targets, including delivering 93% of first-class mail by the next day. It blamed industrial action. Simon Hughes is the MP for North Southwark and Bermondsey. He has a huge file of complaints from constituents about the mail stretching back years.
The complaints are ones that ought to be able to be sorted. Missed delivery, non-delivery, things lost. It may arrive open, it may never arrive at all, and trying to find out what happens is extremely difficult.
Every year, Royal Mail compiles estimates of how much of our mail is lost, stolen, damaged and interfered with. But it has refused to release these figures despite a series of freedom of information requests, giving commercial confidentiality as its reason. Simon Hughes says we should know.
Royal Mail is publicly owned, it's our organisation, and therefore the public has the right to know. There have been a lot of lost items. It shouldn't be the case. That should be a wake-up call for the organisation to get its act sorted.
The British public is sending less letters these days. There's been an 8% decline in the last year. But because of the explosion in online retailing, the volume of packets and parcels has rocketed. It's an extremely important market for Royal Mail to get right. In the run-up to Christmas, our reporters see a snapshot of how they're handling our presents. On some occasions, Joe sees postmen throwing fragile parcels across the sorting floor.
Yeah, I do, yeah. And then you can do it all, get it all out, can you?
A manager at Brixton is dropping packages around him. At least one is also marked fragile.
This one's fragile. What should I put?
No, leave it on the floor.
Leave it on the floor.
Jonathan de Carteret is a postal analyst who helps companies switch from Royal Mail to rival mail operators. But his clients still rely on Royal Mail's delivery network, and he says it's failing in an important area.
Clearly, the parcel and packet market is a lifeline for Royal Mail, and it's widely expected that 75% of its profits will arise from the conveyance of packets within the next few years. However, we are not convinced that they are really seizing this opportunity. We take consultation with some foot postmen to understand what their views are, and what they find is that their post bag is gradually filling up with bulkier and heavier items. Their rounds are taking longer, the bags are becoming heavier, and that the management of Royal Mail are failing to equip them with the tools necessary to deliver this new range of product.
At Tooting, Kareem finds some packages certainly aren't being delivered properly. A resident says he's been given a sorry you were out card, but without the proper details on it.
Look, he hasn't put a time on, has he?
No, this is the point. Very important, because that's the important letter.
You're expecting a...
Then he notices that the postman has written on the form, the front wall.
By front wall?
I mean, it'd be really bad if you did, because he shouldn't leave any packets outside the locked door, because anyone could steal them, you know, it's... OK. Oh, I hope not.
Can you believe it?
So that's really bad.
People like you try to do something good. You see, negated by people like this.
Yeah, yeah.
Kareem reports it to his manager.
Yeah, the customer had a bit of like a strop.
Yeah, they all have strop. Let them have strop.
He doesn't seem too bothered.
But the guy did just leave the packet near the gate.
That goes on, man.
Yeah.
That goes on.
Kareem is given a couple of shifts at Hornsey sorting office in North London. On a single round, he finds 5 parcels left outside 4 separate houses.
See that? Yeah. packet left in the rain. There's a packet left on your doorstep for number 12. The chap didn't bother to press any of the buzzers.
I'm afraid.
He also finds it happening in Tooting, and a woman says it's not the first time.
Yeah, sometimes they drop packages for like whole lots of different people, different roads, just in here because they know that we're in office.
People who aren't in when the postman rings have to come and collect their parcel.
Yeah, no, they don't have it.
One Saturday morning, Kareem finds a huge queue outside Tooting office.
Usually it's big, the queue here on a Saturday.
It's awful. The pace of getting packages out to people is so slow, and so you just get a few people coming on. Suddenly, it's a massive queue. I don't know why they don't give them like an extra member of staff.
Inside, Kareem spots the manager.
The queue outside?
Yeah, that's normal on a Saturday, yeah.
Really?
No, it's a little bit worse.
Really?
Christmas goes round the corner.
I better get back to work.
In Brixton, Joe sees a postman walking out of the collection office, saying he's refused to give a customer his parcel.
Let me know where it goes.
Just serve that man at the window, I'm not serving it.
Because he'd rung the bell to attract his attention.
The man's pressing the bell like he's a child, and I'm stood right by the window. And I'm asking what you're pressing the bell for, and I'm right here. I didn't see you. How can you not see me and I'm stood right... The man hadn't even come into the office, and the first thing he's done is press the bell. I'm stood right by the window. It's right there.
The customer is still there.
And I'm asking the man what you're pressing the bell for, and he's telling me that's what it's there for. It's a child. I don't mind if children press the bell. It's a big grown man pressing the bell for, and I'm stood right by the window.
Another postman says the man he shouted at was elderly.
I mean, about 80 years old, something like that. Do you know what I mean? He wants to pick on someone his own size.
A recent survey found more than half of postal users say they've received a sorry you were out card, even though they were actually at home. An angry resident at Brixton roused with a manager, claiming it happened to him.
Mate, I was in the house waiting in the parcel.
Yeah, let me finish.
I sat waiting all day yesterday, didn't he come at all? I want my parcel, mate.
What I'm saying to you is, they're out there, yeah, they come and say there's no answer. I'm not following them. I'm going to camera to know whether there is no. Your word against theirs, and then your word against theirs. You know.
Let's start standing outside every day with a video camera to prove it, and then make a TV programme about it.
Yeah,
do something about it. Give me an idea, man. They just do that.
We're happy to oblige. In January, there's yet another problem looming for the Royal Mail. Because of the snow, the postmen are complaining it's too dangerous. A manager tells the workers at Tooting that the policy is they don't have to finish the round.
I've been around and had a look. Some roads are quite bad. Others are not bad. If I go out, I'll do one out. No.
It's left up to the workers how much they do, and some of them don't seem to make much of an effort.
I need to swap. Is it really bad?
Yeah, I'm slipping and sliding everywhere. I'll come back.
All right, see you later. See you. So, that chap left at about 12. He came back at 21.
Kareem doesn't find it that hard.
I don't think it's bad about it today. It really doesn't stop me delivering mail. You know, going out at 12, coming back at 1, and saying, oh, because it's too slippy, I'd be a bit embarrassed.
2 days later, one postman tells Kareem they could have gone out, but he blames the managers for overworking them.
I mean, listen, yesterday you couldn't go out because it was icy, it was bad. But the day before with the snow, you can walk on the snow.
Yeah, because it's soft.
Isn't it? If he'd have given us an half-decent delivery and said, look, get out early, take your time, we'd have done it. But he didn't. He kept us in here late, he kept throwing more and more work, made the walks heavy. You ain't going to do it for him, are you?
Yeah.
You're not going to do it.
Over at Brixton, Joe finds a postman giving up his round early, claiming it's too dangerous.
Not from me, man. It's your ass, you know. Louder.
What are you up to now?
I'm going Croydon.
Oh, sweet.
He's leaving at 11 a.m, 3 hours before his time.
All right. Sweet. Later.
But Joe carries on for 3 more hours.
There's nothing wrong with this path at all. It's like 10 past 11 now. He's off. I've still got a round to do.
Both our reporters left Royal Mail a month ago. A few weeks later, Chief Executive Adam Crozier announced he'd be leaving too. Royal Mail said he'd done a remarkable job in improving the organisation, but Dispatches has found many of the same failings we uncovered 5 years ago. We don't know if what our reporters found is typical of every Royal Mail office, but we didn't choose those offices. It was the agencies which decided where our reporters went. We approached Royal Mail for a comment on our findings. It said,
"It comes as no surprise that Dispatches has chosen to focus entirely on a handful of London offices, where we have consistently acknowledged that there have been industrial relations problems and strong opposition to change, to justify Dispatches' inaccurate and distorted portrayal of Royal Mail."
It said the vast majority of its people were hard-working, honest and conscientious, and that more than 80% of letters were now being automatically sorted. It said both reporters were fully vetted. During their time at Royal Mail, our reporters heard a lot of negative comments from postmen about the job. But one postman at Brixton did have some positive advice for Joe.
You want me to take any of this stuff in?
Nah, go on. You know what? Go and see your children and tell them the stories of being a postman and why they should go to school. Yeah, tell them.
To tell us your stories about the Royal Mail, go to the website at channel4.com/dispatches.